Yes, we are talking about Charlotte Tilbury again. I promise, I'm not trying to make a whole Charlotte Tilbury dedicated channel. Promise. So listen, I made a video recently about how she was kind of going after dupes, right? How she's been feeling threatened lately, I guess we could say. We're going to be talking about this again. Yes, the brand Charlotte Tilbury, and I guess the individual too, has been going after some smaller brands when it comes to dupes, lawsuits. Actually, it's not dupes at all. It's kind of crazy, right? Two small brands that she's come after, hit with lawsuits, is what I was trying to say. Let me know how you feel about this, because I obviously have some thoughts on it, let's say. So the first small brand we're going to talk about is Airbrushed Skin. The owner, Becky, made a story time going over what happened to her and her business. I'm going to play that for you now.
Story time on a big cosmetic brand that is bringing my small business to close. My name is Becky and I own Airbrushed Aesthetics and Airbrushed Skin. After 5 years of trialling and formulating a reliable and most importantly, affordable skincare line, I finally launched my dream during the near end of my second pregnancy in June 2024. Now, to give you a little bit of background, I used to work on Instagram working with cosmetic brands and skincare brands, clothing brands, etc. And I'd actually been approached by this specific cosmetic company about 2 years ago. However, I was unhappy with the rates that they were offering, therefore I never actually followed through with the collab. Fast forward to November 2024 and I'm on my first holiday since launching my aesthetics clinic business. And I received an urgent message from my assistant and she's all, "I'm sorry to disturb you, but you need to see this." It was a letter from a solicitor who had opposed the trademark that I'd input back in June 2024. And they had insisted there was a deadline for me to respond that same Saturday. This particular solicitor isn't claiming to directly work for the cosmetics company. In fact, she's claiming to work under a completely different business name. After doing some digging, we found out exactly who she was and exactly who it was that she worked for. And the absolute shock to my system when I realised that it was the same brand who'd been praising me just 2 years ago. Now they're coming for my brand name simply because they have some makeup products on the market with similar wording. Let me just remind you, this is a makeup company coming for a small skincare brand. So we contact them back with a statement just to assure them that there is no way our brand can be confused with theirs.
Yeah.
From our product name to our packaging, there was no way the public could confuse our skincare line with their cosmetic branding. However, it wasn't quite enough. They were absolutely determined to prevent us from trademarking our brand, which in turn prevents us from being able to sell on TikTok, which, as we all know all too well, is the place to be if you're trying to start up a small business. They were not backing down and we were advised to seek legal help, to which was looking very positive. We spoke to a solicitor and he agreed that there was no way we should be bullied out of our brand name, so things were looking great. We've got no likelihood to their makeup products whatsoever. We're going to win this case. Until we got off the call and we sent over the solicitor the TM7 form. And his tone completely changed. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to do a part 2.
Basically, Charlotte Tilbury hired a solicitor to send out a TM7 form. A TM7 form is used to basically disagree with and challenge a trademark. So over this brand's name, right? Because Airbrush Beauty, because it sort of sounds like their Airbrush Flawless Foundation. Come on. The indie company does not have enough money to fight something like this in court, because can you imagine going up against a company that has that much money, right? And has to completely rebrand, like close their business because of it, which I think is absolutely fucking crazy. Something that you might not realize, it costs money to rebrand, right? It costs money to develop and make packaging. And that isn't just something an indie brand can absorb and be like, oh, well, it would be awful to have to do that, starting from scratch. Visibly looking at her brand, there is zero confusion with Charlotte Tilbury. The word airbrush has been around long before Charlotte Tilbury's existence on products themselves as well, right? This is a very strange one. Why, to me, it seems they have aimed for this one brand in particular to pick on and be like, you're using this word. You know what I mean? Also, she's had a brand over 5 years, only for Charlotte Tilbury to come in and pull this. And surely, you know, as Charlotte Tilbury wanted to touch on a million times in the other video, is, you know, her experience and her work over 30 years being this incredible makeup artist. You can't trademark the word airbrush. Surely you're going to go backtrack every single MAC airbrush product. So you're going to go through every single airbrush product and do that. Anyway, so in this video here on the caption on the screen says, of course I'm petrified. I spent 5 years perfecting my skincare line to be bullied out of selling the brand, as in her product, I created, all because I have billions and I'm a small business. Yeah, that would be absolutely horrific. So this video says on screen, being bullied into withdrawing my business because of the brand I once looked up to was not what I expected for this little business I took 5 years to perfect.
Today I've been absolutely dreading. February 18th is the last day we've got to file our TMA, meaning we have officially withdrawn from fighting for the brand's name. I fully believed that this past week of grumps have been due to my monthlies, but now the day's come, I know that it's all down to this. I'm still shocked that it's actually come to this. We've been completely bullied out of my own brand name simply because of the fact that we can't afford to take it to court, but they can. I truly think it's sickening how many other stories that I've heard as well of big brands doing this to other people. And I just don't understand why coming for a small business when these big companies are already doing so well is so necessary. But we are where we are. I guess this is just the final call for anybody who wanted to try our products, we're thinking about buying something from the range, just wanted to support the business in the hopes that we can rebrand, then I guess this is your chance to do it. We're on the countdown now, so I don't know how many more days we're going to have of being able to sell the rest of the product we've got, which is a lot. Hopefully we can make enough back in the pot to be able to afford the rebrand. I'm just so grateful for all the support we already have received. I guess this is a goodbye for now, and hopefully not the end.
Absolutely insane. In this huge effort, right, to get the funds to rebrand, Becca had a huge sale on her website and has thankfully been able to get help with her rebrand, and hopefully will be relaunching soon. It's important to remember, right, that this isn't a hobby for people. This is a business. This was this woman's income. She is a mother. How can you want to empower everyone and love innovation if you're then going to completely crush a small brand, or basically nothing in the same breath? If you're going to create your entire worth and sense of brand loyalty from your character, right, and name, you better make sure you behave accordingly. This is not a good look after the already unprofessional outburst she had about those dupes, the brand dupes. Moving on anyway, this hasn't been the only indie brand to cause a Tilbury tantrum, right? Triggwell Cosmetics, who a lot of you may be familiar with, have had the exact same treatment, except people have mixed feelings on this one, right? Triggwell is a little Welsh makeup brand from Wales, right? Started by Zoe Triggwell, who had been a makeup artist, had her own training academy, and then went on to open her business.
I've been battling something tough behind the scenes, and it's time to talk. Triggwell Cosmetics is facing one of our biggest challenges yet. It's been emotional, exhausting, even overwhelming at times. And the truth is, I don't know what's going to happen next. Right at this very moment, I'm not really ready to share every single detail, but tomorrow at 4 p.m, I'm going to be going live on TikTok, just really to talk about what's been going on. And if you've followed our journey over the last 5 years, if you've ever purchased from us, I would love for you to join me. Hopefully, I'll see you there.
Oh, so Zoe, the brand owner, went on her live and spoke about how she had gotten a similar letter to Becky from Tilbury. This time, though, it was about her logo. Let's have a look at the logos here and compare it to the Charlotte Tilbury logo, right? This is Charlotte Tilbury, which also includes her name, and this is the Triggwell Cosmetics logo. Now, I can see why some people may be like, you know, yeah, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't look at this logo and consider it Charlotte Tilbury's logo. To me, the logo is her full name. I don't think I recall this logo in general, unless you use a product on Nova brand. I don't think you recall that logo. I can see the similarities, right? If you move the T down, they're going to be very similar logos, but the products are visually different. I've put the links down below. If you have a C and a T and that's your logo, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna put the C and the T. There's loads of brands out there whose letters like combine and all this kind of stuff. However, if you are going to go into a store and pick up a Triggwell Cosmetics product and pick up a Charlotte Tilbury product, they are two visually very different things. I've left the links to their websites in the description box, so do check them out and have a look at the products and packaging. Do you think it's obvious that they aren't duping, deceiving anyone? Right? 100%. First of all, they don't really make products that are claimed to dupe the brand anyway. The products don't even look like Charlotte Tilbury as a brand, and they make some really fucking good products. I actually like their products over Charlotte Tilbury products anyway. I like the formulas better, but it just gives petty to me. Like, no one is going to think that you, $1 billion business, have suddenly up and changed your packaging, up and changed your logo like this, moving it from gold to black. You know what I mean? Triggwell have been able to bounce back a lot quicker than Airbrush Skin, thank God. These are just two of the small brands that have been super vocal about this online. I wonder how many other small businesses, you know, are a little bit scared to come forward that this is happening again, or have been hit with legal letters from Charlotte Tilbury for daring to have something about them that is faintly kind of reminds you of Charlotte Tilbury. She's one bad day away from losing it. What is she going to do next, right? Start suing gingers? These moves from Charlotte Tilbury, again, threatened. It's given us a really good sign of what she feels about the industry. Was Triggwell coming up so much that Charlotte Tilbury was like, oh, I've noticed this logo, I've noticed this brand, and it's getting too far, let's slow it down. Are they pulling a strange PR trick? Like, why would they be so concerned over these businesses? Maybe it's because the only reason they can think of that they aren't getting sales is because of dupes or confusion, and not the fact that they've failed to evolve from being a kind of nice brand that rich middle-aged women like. And you know what? These aren't just coming across as Charlotte Tilbury protecting herself. They come across as her being petty and trying to do things to damage other brands. You know what I mean? It's almost as if she doesn't know, despite having this hugely successful business, how the beauty industry works. And a good point that's been floating around about all of this is, why is Charlotte Tilbury bothering with small indie brands when e.l.f. are duping them directly every 3 to 4 business fucking days? And MCO. Work on those people if you really want to pick on somebody your own size. This has put me off a brand like, I mean, I was never gonna buy anything anyway, but this has really put me off a brand like Charlotte Tilbury because, one, calm the fuck down. And two, get a grip on your whole life, Charlotte Tilbury. What are you doing? What is going on? This is insane moves. Your panic, your I can't do anything about e.l.f. and this other one, so let me do it to other brands, is very clear. Is very clear and speaks louder than these lawsuits. Let me know your opinions down below. I've left the link for both brands we spoke about in today's video in the description box for you to check out. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.